NVIDIA's latest RTX lineup of graphics cards have been a really exciting prospect on paper. With a sizable performance improvement from the last generation and crammed full of next-gen tech, they have been quite cool to watch. But, and there is a but coming, they've been largely unaffordable to most people, and support for the standout ray tracing functionality has been limited to say the least. Today that could all change with my review of the RTX 2060. Now, it's for the reasons I outlined in the introduction that I strayed away from doing a dedicated review of the RTX 2070, 80 or 80 Ti, despite having had hands-on time with all three. There's a massive difference, I think, between demoing key features such as ray tracing, using essentially marketing materials, versus actual in-house game testing. With all the RTX cards though, and this is no exception, you can expect to see sizably better performance than the previous generation counterparts. The 2060 is expected to perform around on par with that of a GTX 1070 Ti, minus of course that ray tracing functionality. The RTX 2060 is very much designed to be the more mainstream, slightly more affordable option in the ray tracing lineup of graphics cards. The 2060 boasts 6GB of the new and faster GDDR6 memory for 14GB of memory bandwidth. This particular card, being the Founders Edition, also has a boost clock speed of up to 1680 MHz, which is a little bit lower than you'll find on cards from add-in board partners, such as Asus's Strix card, which has a 1830 MHz boost, but more on that later. This card is of course based on NVIDIA's latest Turing architecture, the same we've seen in the 2070, 80 and 80 Ti thus far, which brings a whole host of new technology to the table. This new architecture boasts support for better shading technologies alongside new tensor cores for greater support for the use of AI in graphics, as well as predominantly support for the ray tracing technology. What ray tracing does is it completely changes the way light is dealt with in games, and how it interacts with the game world. It traces the path of light created by, say, the fire of an explosion and simulates how that would react in the real world with objects in a game. E.g. in this scene I filmed in Battlefield 5, you can see the puddles of water creating much more realistic reflections, and the metallic paint on a car giving a much more immersive and realistic look. While ray tracing does undoubtedly look fantastic, it does have one key downside at present, and that's its performance overhead. Tested in Battlefield 5 1440p high settings, you're seeing the frame rate slashed by up to 50% in some circumstances, which is a massive amount. NVIDIA claim though that they may have found a solution to this problem in the form of DLSS. Standing for Deep Learning Super Sampling, it essentially creates a better looking image while using less of your GPU's power. NVIDIA have even gone as far to say that DLSS on and ray tracing on should give you around the same performance as DLSS and ray tracing both disabled, which would be amazing, but sadly, like the launch of the 2080 and 80 Ti, I can't quite demo this functionality just yet. Now that I've tried to confuse you with an onslaught of terminology, I think it's about time we look at some benchmarks and see just how well this GPU performs.
I've got all the time it seems. I'd rather see you in my dreams. And every chance to dance I'll take, if I can't see you again. And I've got all the time it seems. I'd rather I'd rather see you in my dreams. And every chance
I must admit the performance figures on this card did impress me to a good degree. It slotted nicely alongside the 2070, 2080 and GTX 1080 Ti models from Zotac and MSI, despite those being the very top end units on the market. Whether it's ray tracing and its frankly limited availability or raw performance you care about, this GPU is really quite impressive. Before I wrap up and dive into the conclusion, I think it's important to emphasise just how impressed I've been with the Founders Edition, particularly of this graphics card. From that wraparound front shroud and backplate design with metallic NVIDIA RTX logo and two large fans that look really quite nice. The use of lighter metals is also a really welcome change, away from the dark blacks and greys and reds typically found on gaming graphics cards. The conclusive rear I/O with USB-C, 2 display ports and HDMI 2.0 also keeps this card future-proofed for the next generation of displays that we're undoubtedly going to start seeing very soon. And NVIDIA's now support for G-Sync on FreeSync monitors is yet another step in the right direction. You can actually pick this card up straight from NVIDIA's website for $350 or select a card from an add-in board partner for just a little bit more, though I'll link all the options for different regions and retailers in the description below. Hopefully in the next few months we see AMD come to market with a really competitor to this card to try and force prices down somewhat, but even at that $350 mark, I don't think this is all that bad of a deal. I'm going to definitely get some builds out with this card over the next couple of weeks, and I have a funny feeling this with the new i5 9600K could be one killer combo. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a big old like rating, make sure to get subscribed, hit me up on the social media channels on your screen now, and as always we'll see you in the next GeekaWhat video.